The following is a presentation of Learfield IMG College.
This is Duck Insider.
Give it to Verdell. He's got the first down and go! Duck fans start celebrating. Oregon is the 2019 Pac-12 champion. The 2020 Rose Bowl champion.
Richardson, another open three. Good! Duarte dribbles and slams with the right hand. For the third time in the last 5 years, the Ducks are Pac-12 champions. Outright champs.
Foley three. Goal! Foley ball. Out Shelley. Three ball. Goal! Regular season champions and now Pac-12 tournament champions.
Welcome to Duck Insider.
We're just getting started.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College. Presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Better banking, local solutions. Live from the Country Financial Studio, here's Joey Mack.
Happy Wednesday, everybody, and happy Veterans Day to everybody joining us across the Oregon Sports Network today, and to all of our veterans, thank you for your service. That's something that's always very near and dear to Coach Cristobal's heart, we know. He has a special connection with his family, being members of the military, his father-in-law, and that's a big reason why we've continued at the University of Oregon for the spring game to honor the military, and I'm glad that we're still able to do that. So happy Veterans Day to everybody who is joining us, and we will, of course, say that again tonight on our Coaches Show. Andy Avalos is set to join us at 7 o'clock across the Oregon Sports Network, along with D.D. Lenore. That's right, D.D. Lenore. We did ask him about his change from Diamador to D.D. Scott and I actually recorded the interview with D.D. Lenore last night, and you'll hear it tonight on the Oregon Football Coaches Show presented by Carl's Jr. That is coming your way tonight, 7 o'clock, on not only the Oregon Sports Network, but on the Oregon Football social media channels as well, where you can watch the show, and also on the Go Ducks YouTube page as well. I just saw, and this is a good note for everybody around the Eugene area, as our friend Kevin Wade, a friend of the program, who has really been keeping track of the maps of what NFL games are going to be on in each market. He just actually tweeted it out. And so the Eugene area is going to see the Chargers and Miami game on CBS. But for those of you in Portland, you're going to see Buffalo and Arizona instead of Justin Herbert versus Tua Tagovailoa. So Eugene, woo! Portland, sorry. But yeah, Justin Herbert going to be on in the Eugene market again here coming up, which is pretty cool. Your Facebook comments and questions, your YouTube comments and questions. We've got a lot to talk about, including I got another submission yesterday or a few other ones actually, for what do we call the early morning Pac-12 games. I think that's just going to be an ongoing thing. I hope, I guess I'll put it this way. Personally, selfishly, I hope that we don't have to worry about it at Oregon because we're not playing in any of those 9 a.m. games. I think it's tough on fans for a lot of different reasons. Well, this is going to be an interesting matchup with Oregon and Washington State. Mario Cristobal met with the media today. We have that for you coming up in just a moment, as he just wrapped up his press conference around 12:40 if you're live with us in the 1 o'clock hour. James says Pac-12 before Hot Pockets. We've gotten into this very specific breakfast now. I still like Pac-12 before brunch, but I really like Pac-12 Sunny Side Up. I think Pac-12 Sunny Side Up is still my favorite. We're also going to have some Oregon men's basketball news coming your way tomorrow, as the Ducks and every other Pac-12 team are going to be doing a virtual media day for Pac-12 men's basketball season that starts in 2 weeks. Think about that. Men's basketball season for the NCAA starts in 2 weeks. Whew. Can you believe that? I'm having a hard time believing it as we all prepare for this season. So that's coming up in addition to Mario Cristobal. And some women's basketball news today, as the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame and Women's Basketball Coaches Association announced this morning that Oregon women's basketball senior Erin Boley, one of 20 players on the preseason watch list for the Cheryl Miller Award, given annually to the nation's most outstanding small forward. The lone starter to return for the Ducks this season. She's on the Miller Award watch list for the first time in her career after she saw her teammate Satu Sabali take home the honor last season. So, Aaron Boley, congratulations on the Cheryl Miller Award preseason watch list. The lone returning starter, and yet it still feels like the Ducks are just absolutely loaded. Meanwhile, a new addition for Oregon women's basketball announced today as Taylor Bigby has been signed to play for the Ducks 2021 guard. A national letter of intent signed, as Kelly Graves announced today. She's a number 29 ranked recruit in the nation, according to ESPNW. Bigby entering her senior season at Centennial High School out in Las Vegas, a stellar junior campaign. She's ranked number 28 overall by Prospect Nation and number 24 by ASGR. So in other words, this is a top 30 recruit that the Ducks just signed to a letter of intent, and just yesterday was named to the 50-player watch list for the 2021 Jersey Mike's Naismith Trophy for High School Girls Player of the Year. That's Taylor Bigby. Welcome to the flock. Both men's and women's basketball are going to be top 20 teams, and I think even with some new faces, without the likes of Sabrina Ionescu and Peyton Pritchard, I still think that you could make a very solid argument that last year Oregon saw the best point guard duo we've ever seen, maybe college basketball has ever seen, from a men and women at one school. I mean, seriously, find me another duo that was as good as Peyton Pritchard and Sabrina Ionescu were, and especially the fact that they were in the same class. Pretty impressive. So even without those faces, we're looking forward to, I think, a pretty loaded roster on both sides. So more basketball news coming up, and also today, acrobatics and tumbling. They're announcing their newcomers. You can follow their social media as Coach Kinawan signs a few new student-athletes to letters of intent. There's your updates for today. Also, Mace Funa is meeting with the media as we speak, and a few other Oregon players. And we're going to zero in on the defensive side. How do you slow down that run-and-shoot offense that Washington State runs? It's a new coach with Nick Rolovich, and I think you know what to expect after watching last week's game against the Beavers a little bit. You know what to expect looking at Nick Rolovich's time with Hawaii, but it's a new Washington State team. We'll find out a lot, I think, this weekend with that 4 o'clock kickoff on Fox, 2 o'clock pregame show for us across the Oregon Sports Network with Jerry, Jorgie, Terry, and myself. Looking forward to it. The Ducks heading up to Pullman this weekend. Without further ado, let's hear from Mario Cristobal as he met with the media, his press conference, talking about all things Ducks and Cougars.
Wrapping up our Wednesday practice, ending with 2-minute drill, like we always do. And, you guys know how we do it. We really get after it, full padded practice for a couple of hours, working all the situations, multiple personnel groupings, and preparing our final real physical practice for Washington State. So questions, please.
Laura, I wonder if we can just start with any update on the tight ends and then a question on why Stephen Jones didn't start the game. Obviously came in and played. I wonder if there was an explanation for that.
Tight end situation of this game will be the same as last game. Stephen Jones, for us, we consider him a co-starter. All 6 of those guys played. When I say all 6, the tackle positions played just about even reps, all 3 of them. So he's part of the starting rotation.
Mario, it seems like Jane Delora's kind of a perfect fit for Rolovich and what he's trying to do right off the bat. What are the keys, I guess, to stopping a freshman that, is so good at both areas of the field, running and passing?
Well, probably your best chances are going to be just don't treat him like a freshman, because he's not your average freshman. He's a very mature, very poised quarterback. He seems to the moment is not big at all for him. He's just very natural in the system, which obviously he's run before, but he can hurt you in every way. He understands where the holes are in the defense. He understands what to take advantage of in his offensive scheme. He could do with his legs, his arm, get you in the right play. He just tremendous command of the offense. He really does. And he's an explosive playmaker, keeps plays alive, and has hit some really big things down the field. So, again, you just got to be at your best. You got to be really disciplined. You got to play hard and fast.
Max Borgi didn't play in that game against Oregon State. And what did you see from Deion McIntosh, and just kind of what does he bring to this offense and his playmaking ability at running back?
Well, he fits their scheme really well. He's explosive, fast. He's dangerous as a receiver, out of the backfield. He's a guy that using their empty sets as well. He has that make you miss ability in a subtle way where he doesn't have to, just really get off balance to do so. He'll make you miss, put a foot in the ground, and go. And he's a home run hitter. He's a guy that could take it to the house if he has space. So, but he sets up his blocks really well. He's patient when he needs to. He hits it hard when he needs to. Really impressed with him and knew him as well. Watched him play football in high school. Was a great player then, and he was really good last week.
All right, to follow on the tight ends. So is that Cooper still the second one then for this week, or does Patrick Herbert get the potential to move up? And also wanted to get an update on Popo and his availability.
Yeah, Popo will not be available. Patrick Herbert is getting better. He's close. We feel the same way about Webb. We'll see where they're at come game time, but we could definitely count on seeing both Cooper and seeing DJ.
I know a lot of fans probably see run and shoot and the air raid and think maybe those are kind of similar. Can you kind of speak to some of the differences and what makes this a tough animal to tackle?
Oh, they're different. I mean, they're certainly, one's predicated upon, I would say, maybe more what the defense shows you. The other one's more aggressive and kind of, I wouldn't be fair to say. I mean, they're just unique in different ways, in terms of their protections, in terms of the way they move the pocket. That's certainly different. The launch point changes a lot more in this offense than the air raid. The running game is much more diverse, at least in this particular one. I mean, you'll see tackle trap, you'll see dart, you'll see inside zone, you'll see counter, you'll see swing passes, a really good draw game, both quarterback draws and just regular halfback draws. Screen game is really good. It's multiple, and you'll see it out of multiple sets. I know typically you'll see four wides in there, but they move them around and they put them in situations and spacing and split wise that allows them to create what they want to from a distribution standpoint in the passing game.
Sack opportunities against the air raid are pretty difficult just because of the timing, how quickly they get the ball out of the hands of the quarterback. Is that same case with this, or is there going to be more opportunities for you guys to get some pressures, to get some sacks, to get some hits on the quarterback?
Oh, the ball's out quick. The ball's out quick. And I think what even more impressive than that is the fact their offensive line. Really impressed with the way those guys run the ball and protect. They're nasty. They get after it up front now. They're not passive in pass protection. They're getting after you. They create a really wide, because they're so aggressive in pass protection. Those are really big, comfortable pockets. Quarterback has time to set up and feel comfortable. And if somebody misses, there's so much space that he has time to make a decision or make a play, make somebody miss and make something happen. So, but overall, just again, both the combination of both things are certainly something that are difficult to defend.
Mario, your first year taking over the program, you guys had a couple tough teaching moments at Washington State, at Arizona. The team has turned it around, obviously, dramatically in road play since then. What lessons did the team kind of learn from those trips? And beyond safety protocol, is there anything different you do preparing for a road game without fans?
Yeah, well, we changed our entire. I thought we were changing that approach, heading into 18 to do a better job on the road, and we slightly improved it. And in the past, last year we got better. Still not where we want to be, but playing on the road is a different mentality, completely different. You've got to pack it all. You've got to pack your toughness. You got to pack your energy. You've got to pack your discipline, your resiliency. Got to pack Otson, in that bag as well. You got to pack it all, and you got to be ready to bring it, because you need to cut out every single ounce of distraction and everyone and anything that has nothing to do with being successful in this football game. So I think we're getting a better understanding of that. We're certainly working on it and emphasizing it night and day. It has to look a certain way when you go on the road, and it's a business trip.
Mario, I realize it's a very small sample of just 6 kickoffs, but since it was such an off-season point of emphasis, your thoughts on kickoff coverage, defense, whether it was Cam's kicks and the touchback percentage, and also your coverage ability on special teams on kickoffs?
Well, it has to improve. We start off the game poorly, but we kick the ball right down the middle of the field, and certainly that's when you see a ball like that go up, your blood pressure goes through the roof, because that's not the way it was intended. when it was called, we have kicks that go to the middle of the field and some that, go opposite and all that other stuff. But as the game went on, it certainly improved. And I know one of them was a line drive, but it was a touchback. The other one was just a normal touchback. Cam got better and better, and Cam has been excellent in practice. He really has. And we have confidence in him and expect him to have a great game.
How is Noah kind of built off of his first collegiate game reps? I guess I'm curious if at a position like that where he's making some of the calls, if just getting that experience can be pretty significant for him in his development, and kind of, I guess, how does this week look from his perspective?
I think him and all those guys are doing a really good job just repping the system. It's every week. Here's a challenge of the Pac-12. You face some really different offenses week in and week out, so you're going to get consistent scheme and verbiage work, but you're going to see something different. So he's getting the kitchen sink thrown at him now. He really is, right? Last week you saw those guys lined up 2 and 3 tight end sets. Sometimes they spread you out, and all of a sudden it's a run and shoot. We don't look past this week, but I'm sure there'll be different stuff. I think he's been excellent. If you had to grade him in what he's done in practice, which I think is the question, I want to make sure I answer it correctly. I think he's done a great job. I think he's been physical. I think he's been a detailed guy. He's a student of the game. Like, he understands it. I mean, it's in the DNA of that family, right? Those guys like eat and sleep football, and he's approached it like a pro.
Mario, because it's come up a lot today, particularly out of the SEC. Greg Sankey, Jimbo, Will, everybody's kind of chimed in on this issue. Your thoughts on, since it is your first road game, of road locker rooms? And literally, Greg Sankey said it's an issue to address in terms of potentially expanding the road locker room area. Is that a concern for you in general? I'm not talking about one specific week, one school. It's not calling out anybody, but the issue as a whole about expanding visiting locker room areas, because even before this, players have talked about and remarked about how visiting locker rooms are not exactly great.
Well, I think everything has to be on the table when you're dealing with what we're all dealing with. I know that here in Lane County, there's the medical experts and officials. They do a great job just having a setup that's conducive to being safe and healthy. For example, our locker room's a mow, with every single shed and door open and all that stuff. So we that's the expectation when we're on the road. Our people have checked it out. We expect it to be safe, spacious, aired out. All the things that go with providing one. So I guess in answering the question, I would say that, all those things always have to be on the table because they matter. And if you read all the literature from the NFL and around the country, it's, those are areas that are always going to have to be paid special attention to because they involve gatherings. So
what are the areas you just expect natural improvement from game 1 to game 2 from your team with so many new guys and young? You mentioned the young team. What's just the natural growth that you expect from week 1 to week 2?
Well, in meeting with our team, I guess everyone has to improve. From our staff to our players, our trainers, our strength coaches, every player in the program. I think a big challenge to our defensive line, I think continued challenge to our offensive line, the trenches in general overall. Oh, man, you already know where I'm headed. I'm going to name everybody. So I apologize. I should do a better job with this. I'll have Patrick give me the questions from now going forward. So I have a better answer, man. But we got to improve. We have to stay addicted to improvement. If there's just no other way. There really is no other way. It's game 2. Guys are focused. We have to just cut out all the outside noise, man, and go just get at it and stay on it and, go get better and play a really good football team that's played some really good football this past week at their place, and a place that we need to, do better. When we showed up there last time, we didn't do a very good job, and that's my fault. So I need to do a better job.
Mario Cristobal, the Oregon football head coach, meeting with the media today. And I thought that was pretty powerful there toward the end. He was just saying, hey, we needed to do better in these road contests. And, I want to give a little bit of context, if I could, to some of his comments about adjustments that the Ducks made. They did actually change routines in practice to get better on the road. They did more things in practice to prepare themselves for being on the road. And it paid off. I mean, you saw it pay off. I mean, look, you think about the turnaround for the Ducks. Oregon has won 16 of its last 18 games. You don't do that sort of thing without winning some games on the road, right? I guess that's what I'm trying to say. The Ducks, I think, have done much better clearly on the road than they did a few years ago. But this is going to be a real test. Now, maybe it helps that it's an empty Martin Stadium. I want to unpack that a little bit and take a look at some of the numbers as we'll dive into that. And hear from Andy Avalos, the Oregon defensive coordinator as well. And Mace Funa, Austin Falliu talking with the media as we speak. We'll have those interviews for you here coming up shortly. Stuck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Back to the Country Financial Studio next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
After 2 years of construction, my wife and I finally moved into our dream home. So when a bathtub fixture broke, causing major water damage, I was glad we had the home insurance protection we needed. How do you know your home is protected? Talk to a Country Financial rep like me, Nick Simon. We can help you understand your options and select coverages to meet your needs. Then if something happens to your home, you won't have any surprises. Need the right coverage for your home but not sure where to start? Visit TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Your daily dose of Oregon athletics. This is Duck Insider from Learfield IMG College.
To buy your home, you became a house hunting ace, learned about loans, scoured neighborhoods, and asked the right questions. Now you're queen of your castle. If you manage that, you can get your retirement plan on track. Visiting aceyourretirement.org can help. With 401k tips and smart saving strategies, you will feel empowered to own your retirement like you own your home. Go to aceyourretirement.org. Because when it comes to clearing financial hurdles, you're an ace. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Whoa, long time no see. It's me, the Rock t-shirt in the back of your closet. Dude, remember? You crowd surfed in me, man. But you haven't worn me in like forever. I get it, you're retired, but I still got some rock left in me. So take me to Goodwill, where I can really make a difference.
Your donations to Goodwill create jobs, training programs, and education assistance for people in your community. To find your nearest donation center, go to goodwill.org. Donate stuff. Create jobs. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack inside the Country Financial Studio here with you. We got the Oregon Football Coaches Show coming up tonight. Andy Avalos and Dee Lenore will be our guests. 7 o'clock across the Oregon Sports Network, and you can watch the show on the Oregon Football social media channels as well. I thought this was funny, just coming from Oregon women's basketball. We told you about the signing of Taylor Bigby to a letter of intent, as it is National Signing Day for a number of different sports. I love this, and this is going to be real fun for our man Terry Johns, who will be on the call for Oregon women's basketball. Are you ready for some tripper? I'm already messing myself up. Are you ready for some triple Taylor trouble in 2021 to 2022? Because the Ducks will have newly signed Taylor Bigby, Taylor Chavez, and Taylor Mikesell, who's going to make her Duck debut this season. 3 Taylors for Oregon women's basketball. I guess Taylor must have been a popular name there for a while amongst the basketball community for players like that to all end up here at Oregon. I don't know. Scott Phillips?
What was that popular, 18 years ago, 19 years ago? So that would be Taylor Swift or something? Was that popular? Is she popular then? I don't know. What would people have named their kids Taylor for?
So in 2002, Scott, I was 9.
Was Taylor Swift popular then?
Not that I remember, okay, but again, I was 9.
James Taylor wasn't popular. Oh, never mind.
Scott Phillips, everybody. He'll be here all week. Mike was asking to please grade the freshmen playing. I thought that Noah Sewell was everybody as good as advertised. And look, I thought this got, I don't know if overlooked is the right word, but I know Justin Flo wasn't in there on defense as much as Noah Sewell was. But that, Scott just said it, that special teams play that Justin Flo made, I'm telling you, that made the entire sideline for Oregon go like, ooh. I mean, I saw it, and I was really impressed with the way he played. And I thought Chris Hudson showed why he's garnered praise just by his route running. And his speed is truly next level. Those are just a few guys, I think, that stood out to me. Gary says, yes, Taylor was popular. I remember my last name is Taylor. Yeah, so there you go. I mean, you know. That's pretty funny. That made me laugh. I want to take a look at something, though, and we're talking about young guys and the starts for the Ducks. I want to make this our Oregon Imaging Center's inside look today. So we knew heading into the game that Oregon had just a complete flip in starts. Because remember, heading into this season, Oregon had more starts on the offensive line than any other team in the country. Then the offseason occurs. You have a bunch of guys graduate, and you have a top 5 probably NFL draft pick in Penei Sewell opt out. So then the Ducks had one start among the offensive line heading into this season. So end of last season, more starts than anybody in the country. Heading into this season, the least amount of starts on the offensive line. And this was a heck of a number. For the first time since 1997, Oregon's starting offensive line against Stanford had 0 combined starts prior to the game. First time in 23 years that the Ducks didn't have a returning starter on that offensive line. And I'm going to just throw this number out there, and then really I think we have to have some context, okay? Between last year's class and players that have opted out, Oregon has lost 20 players that had a combined 495 starts among them. 495 starts. 20 players. I think that just shows you, one, how talented that group was that just graduated, and also the talent level that Oregon still has, being the number 11 team in the country, despite a lot of new faces. But it is a bit of an inexperienced group, and that's why I think this is going to be a real road test for Oregon. And if the Ducks can get a win on the road, even without fans filling up the 32,952 seats at Martin Stadium, and it's probably more than that with standing room only, this is still a road test. But the Ducks, I think, do feel pretty confident, especially after they racked up 496 yards of offense against the Stanford Cardinal. Now, Washington State, a little bit different. And one of the big keys is going to be slowing down that run-and-shoot offense. It's a little different, as you heard Coach Cristobal talking about, and we're going to hear from Andy Avalos on that in just a moment. Oregon Imaging Centers, our inside look. Choose quality, choose service. Choose Oregon Imaging Centers. The choice is yours. We go in-depth on the experience of this Duck team. All right, quick timeout. When we come back, Andy Avalos, Oregon defensive coordinator. He met with the media earlier this week. We're going to zero in on the defense before hearing from a couple student athletes who are talking to the media as we speak to you here on the show live in the 1 o'clock hour. Break time. We'll be back after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
All it takes is one drop to make a wave. One beat to inspire a track. One spark to get creativity flowing. With every drop, Life Water refreshes your mind and restores your body. Purified water, pH balanced with electrolytes for taste. Designed with original works of art on every bottle. Let us be your source of inspiration. Life Water, the feel-good water.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
You're listening to Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
I wasn't prepared to be a caregiver to Mom. I had no idea how hard it would be and what I would need to know. Things I never thought of, like how to improve her mood and ways for me to stay positive. Luckily, I found the Caregiving Resource Center from AARP. It had articles about the basics, but also information about the hurdles I was facing.
Caregiving Resource Center at aarp.org/caregiving. Articles, tips, and tools to help you both care for your loved one and care for yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
All right, everybody in the car. Let's go.
What are we going to do first when we get there, Mom? Go for a hike?
Sure.
What about canoeing? Can we go canoeing too?
I don't see why.
How long does it take to get to the forest?
It's not that far, sweetie.
Are we there yet?
Yep, we're here.
Already?
It's a short drive from your neighborhood to your naturehood. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a neighborhood park or green space near you. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the U.S. Forest Service.
Welcome back to Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack inside the Country Financial Studio. I just read Gary's comment again. Yes, Taylor was popular then. I remember because my last name is Taylor. It was just so dry, so deadpan. I just have this vision, Gary, of you saying it in just this like very matter of fact way. So Taylor Swift, unless she started singing when she was like 12,
which I think she did. She was out like with her acoustic guitar out on street corners. I remember seeing the YouTube video.
so she would have been. So she's 30 years old now.
Yeah.
So she's born 1990.
Well, what other Taylor was popular in the
2002.
2000?
It could just be a massive coincidence.
I think there's got to be some sort of cultural shift that happened there.
Was there honestly, the funny thing is I'm trying to think, was there a basketball player who was very famous in like the late 90s, early 2000s with the name Taylor?
Taylor Lilly.
Mitchell's giving me a Dolphins reference, but anyway, we digress.
All right.
The point is that oh, that was funny. Oh, we also have some new Oregon men's basketball news coming your way here shortly, but I do want to get back to Andy Avalos. We played a little bit of his comments on the show on Monday, but as we zero in on the defense, how do you slow down this run and shoot? And he talked a little bit about his defensive side of the ball and going up to Washington State. Andy Avalos talking with the media.
What did you learn about your linebackers this week and their performance, and kind of, I guess, what's important for them this week and against Washington State?
Yeah, so we got Isaac's the veteran in there, and he does a really good job helping, with Coach Wilson, obviously doing a good job coaching those guys. Isaac's like his assistant and helping grow the guys that don't have a lot of experience or that are young in that group. And so we're really excited about the progress Coach Wilson is making with that group. And obviously it's not a cookie cutter operation, and as you guys all know, and you all probably want to ask, I mean, everybody's on moving forward. Everyone moves at different levels. It's not cookie cutter. And so everyone is growing in the right direction, and we're very excited that we believe that group will be an elite group in the nation, that linebacker core.
To some individual matchups, Andy, you mentioned Demo, but him going up probably against Harris at different points this week. And I realize some fans will criticize that there wasn't sacks on Saturday, but I think you guys were probably more focused on trying to keep what you thought was going to be a mobile quarterback in the pocket and force him to pass, but be that as it may. Your thoughts on KT probably going up against Lucas, or Adrian for that matter, going up against Lucas a good amount?
Yeah, so you always want to pressure the quarterback. That's something we're always trying to do, stop the run, pressure the quarterback. Those are always within the goals to be a successful defense. And, you look in the stat column, we didn't have any sacks last week. Can we grow and do some things differently? Yes, we can, without a doubt. Obviously, some of the situations we were in and some of those third down situations as well last week, we played a lot in the 4-down zone. We played a lot and some short yardage stuff. And so when we do get our opportunities in the longer down distance, we've got to execute and, we got to attack within the game plan and make sure that we're executing those things. And so obviously this week is a big challenge for us. We've got to create more pressure on the quarterback on the edges and in the interior. And we'll work to do a good job this week of making sure our guys understand the plan.
Impressions of how Happel and Bennett Williams replaced Ferrone, and kind of confidence level for them, at least in the first half against Washington State?
We're excited about what those two guys are doing. You know what? They both, they both have come in, and obviously because of the circumstances have had limited time with the team, but they're very intelligent football players. They understand what they're doing, and they understand the defense, and they're very capable football players. And, part of that position too is being a quarterback back there in the secondary and being able to handle the communication and the operation in the pre-snap, and we're very confident in those guys.
Andy, what were your impressions of Washington State's quarterback? Obviously a freshman starting on the road, new system, new coach. How did he do?
I've recruited Hawaii, and I've seen him play in person in high school and things like that. And so it's not surprising. He's an excellent football player. Jaden is, he has got an extremely good arm. He is accurate, and he is obviously very mobile. He's got a presence to him that, he had in high school. And you can watch him in pregame warmups, and you can see that presence. And from the start of the game through, he's got that it factor. He's a very good football player.
Coach, I was impressed on Saturday with Brandon Dorlus and the plays that he was in. What is he bringing to your defense at this point?
He can play multiple positions. Number one, he could play, on the edge and in the bigger groups, and obviously inside. As we get into the more nickel packages and the sub packages, but he's very explosive. Dorlus is explosive, and he's got that twitch inside that creates some matchup issues.
Coach, on the two long pass interference, it appeared like both backs, if they'd looked for the ball, might have had an interception or deflection. What do you teach them or say to all your backs as a learning experience?
Yes, sir. No question. And is within the first game, there's a lot of things we got to grow on. Obviously this will be a point of emphasis. We're in great position a lot of the night on those deep balls. We just, we got to work that level 3 in the finish part and having the confidence we're in position to, play the ball. And we will. The guys understand that. They're excited to grow forward about, the positions they're in and how they can do it better. So they're excited about that. Coach Chance is excited to get to work on that this week, and they'll do a good job of that.
Kind of a follow that, Andy. What does Mike Hale have to do specifically? Because obviously he had a couple of breakups too. It's not just about one play, but there was the long pass for 38 yards too, beyond just a PI that was really kind of unnecessary. But what does he have to do specifically? Because against a team who will pass a good chunk,
yes, sir.
After that gets on tape, they're going to pick on him that much more if it's not corrected.
Yeah, there's no question. And it's about again, it's about the finishing level 3, and making sure that when we are in number one, getting in position. And then when we are in position at the top of the route, to be able to have the confidence, to finish with the proper technique, to be able to use your body position to cut off the route and locate the ball. And I think those guys will do a good job of working at that this week. And, we'll make improvements in that area. And like you said too, sometimes it's about confidence and not panicking in a situation where you don't need to put your hands on a guy and you can play the ball.
That's Andy Avalos, Oregon defensive coordinator, and some good things to say there about Jaden DeLara. Look, he was the Pac-12 Freshman of the Week, 227 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns, and 43 rushing yards and a rushing touchdown against the Beavers. And they didn't have their star running back, the Cougars, didn't in Max Borghi. We'll see what happens this weekend. Every assistant coach interview this year brought to you by the Willamette Valley Cancer Institute and Research Center. Fight like a duck with cancer care you can count on. Quick timeout. When we come back, an update on Oregon athletics and some unfortunate news for the Hall of Fame class of this season. We'll tell you about that. Also, Mace Funa, Austin Faliu, and Nick Pickett wrapping up their interviews with the media. Those are still to come. It's Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union, live from the Country Financial Studio on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
As my family continued to grow, I realized I'd have to replace my beloved Jeep with something that has, well, more seats. I'm Jason Hines, Country Financial Rep and father of 7. Whether you're upgrading from your sporty ride with no room for a car seat or finally replacing your well-loved beater that still has a cassette player, you'll want the right protection for your new car. Work with a Country Financial Rep like me and get the protection you need at a price you can afford. Learn more at TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
This football season, prepare your taste buds for the most iconic sports-watching drink of all time, Pepsi. With refreshing deliciousness specially formulated to keep your eye on the ball and mouth-watering fizziness to help you power through game day, Pepsi has everything you need to start strong.
I used to care when Mike cheered so hard he spilled nacho cheese on my carpet, but thanks to Pepsi, even Mike can't ruin my football party.
So this football season, make Pepsi your go-to game day drink because it's the only drink made for football watching. Pepsi, that's what I like.
This is the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
They say that car crashes happen in slow motion. The reality is that crashes happen fast. There's no time to think and no time to check if your child is in the right car seat. Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Are your kids in the right seat for their age and size? Don't think you know. Know you know. Get more info at safercar.gov/the-right-seat. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Okay, man. This is your time. Maybe you didn't choose this, but you're here now. You're gonna go out there and be an all-star caregiver. Cook, clean, be there emotionally and physically. You gotta dig deeper. Drive them to physical therapy, doctor's appointments, because that's what caregivers do. Don't give up. Show the world that you're tougher than tough. Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Joey Mag welcoming you back to Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. We're inside the Country Financial Studio. It is signing day for a few different sports around Oregon athletics, women's basketball, acrobatics, tumbling, and also Oregon softball just announcing a new addition in Paige Sinicki. She is the 15th ranked prospect, and she's now officially a Duck. So follow along on various Oregon social media accounts today. Over the course of the day, they'll be announcing some of the new additions to the flock, if you will. And today's show also brought to you by Jackson's Food Stores, proud sponsor of the University of Oregon Ducks. Everyday specials on game day necessities. You'll be ready for anything the big game brings. Before we hear from Mace Funa, who spoke to the media today, an unfortunate announcement coming just now about the Oregon Athletics Hall of Fame class. It's going to be celebrated at a future date when we're able to gather together safely. The Oregon Athletic Department announced that today. And it makes sense. Look, normally it's an awesome Friday night event before an Oregon home game. And it's usually around homecoming weekend. And I've had the pleasure of emceeing that event over the last few years along with Jerry Allen. It's one of my favorite nights of the year, recognizing the greats of Oregon athletics and celebrating them at a banquet-style black tie event, if you will, and that's certainly what they deserve. 2020 induction ceremony was originally scheduled for this fall, but will be postponed due to the ever-evolving climate that we are currently facing. It's the 29th Hall of Fame class, which was announced in July, and we can go through that for you if you'd like. Features some of the greatest track and field athletes in school history. Among them, 5-time NCAA champion and 2-time Olympic gold medalist Ashton Eaton. Pretty good guy to have in the Oregon Athletics Hall of Fame. Andrew Weeding, who's also a 5-time NCAA champion, and a 7-time All-America sprinter in Keshia Baker. Record-setting football defensive lineman Nick Reed, who also coordinated the stealth bomber flyover at the Rose Bowl, by the way. Seems fitting that we're talking about that on Veterans Day, doesn't it? Nick Reed also is being inducted into the Hall of Fame, and the 2010 NCAA National Champion women's indoor track and field team also being inducted. Again, normally in the fall, we'd be throwing them basically a party to celebrate. But with everything going on, we're going to celebrate them at another time. But still, once a Duck, always a Duck. Earlier today, Mace Funa talked to the media about an hour ago. Now, he met with the media, and we're ready for it. Again, running it raw, as they say in our business. Just finished up all the interviews, so you'll hear who's asking the questions, and you'll hear our moderator from Oregon Athletic Communications, Todd Miles, shepherding us through, if you will. Mace Funa talking to the media today.
Difficulties from your position of facing the run and shoot, and how that changes things for you.
Nothing changes pretty much. We just stay the course, follow the plan that Coach Avalos and the rest of the coaches have in plan for us. You know, they have a really good, talented young quarterback back there with the offensive line that came back, and just all around their offense is pretty good team. And they put a big emphasis on their run game this year, and so we'll just do what we have to do, follow our game plan, and just play it out.
James Crapia from the Oregonian.
Mace, you and KT are probably going to go up against the best tackle you're going to face, not in practice, in Abe Lucas. What do you see in that matchup? What makes him such a challenge?
For me, I know that every tackle I go against is a challenge. I'll treat them every tackle that I go against, I'll treat them as the best tackle that I'll go against every season. And, I just take it game by game. We put a really big emphasis on 1-0 every week. So that's just my mindset on every week.
Ryan Thorburn, register guard.
Mace, what impresses you the most about Jaden DeLaura, and how do you prepare for a guy that's only played one college game that's kind of limited tape at this level?
Yeah, he's done a tremendous job with that first game that he's had, and with a lot of people and their mindset outside of football, they see a freshman coming into college, which is a big step from high school. But with the same as me from last year, my mindset was get on the field, do my job, and play 100% each play. And what impressed me a lot is just how much has he stepped up to the plate, and he's delivered everything that I know his coach has expected from him. And, I guess we'll just see what comes this Saturday.
Matt Preem, 247 Sports.
Mace, what was Saturday like against Stanford? I just imagine just no crowd, environment, the build-up for actually playing a game. Just what was the emotions like? What was that game like?
It was awkward. Just having no fans, but at the same time, we know as a team, the energy and the juice comes from us within the players, just having love for each other, being excited for every play. And it's always on to the next play. If you mess up, if you do a great job on that play, on to the next play and get ready and get set.
Dylan Rubin King, Duck TV.
Hey, Mace. What were some of the challenges for you going up against Stanford as a starting linebacker? As your only your second start at linebacker, what were some of the challenges of being thrown out there at first against a team that was pretty new on the offensive line?
For me, I would say that I have the little details that I got to fix up, and I just been a big emphasis on these past few practices that we've had, and from the walkthrough that we had Sunday. And, I know that Coach has done a really good job with us and all around as a defense, fixing the little things that we have to fix. And we know that we'll be better this coming Saturday.
James.
Mace, were you in on the dime package when it was being run?
No, sir, I wasn't.
You weren't? Okay. When you guys were learning it, though, in the off season, just what were your thoughts of it, of just seeing a pretty different personnel grouping, obviously with just one down lineman and like 4 backers and 6 DBs? Just your thoughts on just that that Andy Avalos was doing something a little bit different with that.
Yeah, so coming into last year when we first introduced the dime package, I wasn't used to it. I've never really played 3 tech. Seeing me going from 5 tech to outside, dropping below the flats, to going inside and actually playing head up or 3 tech and all that, it was exciting. Just being able to be more mobile. Just showing the coaches that they can trust me, whether it be inside the tackles, outside the tackles, and coverages, run game as well. And that's a crazy group right there, the dime package. Just all around talent. Whether we know we'll be put inside or outside, we know that we'll handle our job well.
Eric.
Mace, it wasn't long ago you were a true freshman getting your first reps out there. I guess, can you reflect on Noah and what you saw from him and kind of your confidence level of having him play there in the middle?
Yes, sir. I enjoyed my freshman year, and I know that Noah's enjoying his freshman year so far, as well as all the other freshmen. Just seeing them fly around to the ball every practice, especially up front, the front 7, everybody knows it's always in the trenches. They're doing a great job, as well as the secondary, and just all the freshmen, I could see it in their eyes. They're enjoying the process, and that's what it really is the process that it takes to get to the next level,
Max Torres, Scoop Duck.
Hey, Mace, you guys had a lot of, talented, proven production last year with guys like Troy and Isaac. Looking a little bit different this year with, a lot of youth at the position, and you're looking like a guy that everyone's kind of turning to. What's the dynamic kind of been like, with you and a lot of the younger guys that are kind of coming up in the program?
Yeah, so coming into the program, Everybody, you know, they have their leaders. And for me, I know that everyone on a team, especially on the defensive side, has to be a leader. Whether you're ones, twos, scout, everybody, you just got to be a leader and depend on each other. And I mean, we've done a pretty good job so far, especially to the start of our season last week. I know that everybody, all 11 on the field, and as well as the people on the sideline that get their reps in, they're all dependable. You know, that's all we need is just dependable depth.
Dylan Reuben King, Duck TV.
How did it feel to get out there and hit somebody that wasn't wearing an Oregon uniform?
It felt great. You know, seeing the same faces all fall camp, which falls along with the process that we have. And, you know, finally be able to take out my techniques and, you know, apply it to the game and going against someone else is just, it feels good, you know, just going against another team.
Mace Funa, good stuff, talking with the sophomore now. You know, some of the interesting numbers on Mace Funa, because he has been very, very versatile for the Ducks, and also the way that his body has changed. Remember, he dealt with injuries in high school. Came to Oregon, worked with Coach Feld and his staff, and now you look at him and it's like, yeah, that's a sophomore at 6'3", 260 pounds. But get this, so third team All Pac-12 by Pro Football Focus. He was second team freshman All-American according to The Athletic. But the numbers that stick out in my mind as I think about both Mace Funa and Kayvon Thibodeau, actually. Mace Funa finished third among Pac-12 freshmen in both sacks. He had 4, and tackles for loss. He had 8.5, and he was second on the team in sacks in 2019. Didn't play a senior season of high school, and he was still able to do that in his freshman year at Oregon. I think Mace Funa, the future is exceptionally bright for that young man. One other thing that I've been thinking about with this Oregon dime package that they've debuted and just utilizing the different personnel groupings that the Ducks have, Oregon's one of the only teams in the country that's had as many interceptions as they've had each of the last 3 years. That tells you that the defensive backs have been pretty darn good. But it's not just the defensive backs for interceptions, right? I think the likes of Mace Funa and Kayvon Thibodeau getting after the quarterback, that helps a lot. And you heard Coach Avalos talking about that too. That's something that Jorgie and I are going to talk about, I think, either coming up tonight or we'll be talking about definitely on Saturday with some X's and O's brought to you by Mike Jorgensen. When we come back, we might not be able to get to Austin Falliou and Nick Pickett today. We'll definitely do that tomorrow. Some updates on a virtual sellout. Yeah, you're going to want to stick around for that. Got to find a way to beat the Huskies. And our Cafe M 2-minute drill taking around Oregon athletics. Stick with us. Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. More coming up on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
After 2 years of construction, my wife and I finally moved into our dream home. So when a bathtub fixture broke, causing major water damage, I was glad we had the home insurance protection we needed. How do you know your home is protected? Talk to a Country Financial rep like me, Nick Simon. We can help you understand your options and select coverages to meet your needs. Then if something happens to your home, you won't have any surprises. Need the right coverage for your home but not sure where to start? Visit TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
More Duck Insider coming up on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
Is that a faucet running? That's not a faucet. That's a river rushing through the forest. Forest rivers provide over 100 million people with clean water to drink.
What? I can't hear you because of the vacuum.
That's not a vacuum. That's the trees in the forest cleaning up the air we breathe.
I didn't know the trees were so amazing.
Yep, and the forest gives us shade, trees to climb.
That's awesome. Let's go explore some more.
Visit the forest today and enjoy all it does, just for you. To learn more about the forest and find one near you, go to discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
Hundo P. Hundo P. Adjective. Short for being 100% sure or certain. As in, if we get a puppy, I'll Hundo P always walk it.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
We're back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack here with you, and again, happy Veterans Day to everybody out there. 4 o'clock kickoff coming up on Saturday, and a 2 o'clock pregame show for us across the Oregon Sports Network with Terry Johns, bringing you a bunch of analysis from Mike Jorgensen. And remember, we will not be in Pullman. It'll be the first time that we'll be calling a game remotely, and wish us the best of luck. Things are definitely going to be different. It's 2020 pretty much in a nutshell for us as broadcasters right there. Your Cafe Yum 2-minute drill. If you're just joining us on Mario Cristobal meeting with the media today, he did say that the tight end depth chart will look the same. That means DJ Johnson, another huge opportunity for him. But now there's some film on DJ Johnson, the tight end, not just DJ Johnson, the defensive end. So does that change anything? I don't know. We're going to find out. DJ Johnson, another big opportunity for him at the tight end position. And Coach also saying that Popo, defensive line for the Ducks, will be unavailable against Washington State. Otherwise, no huge updates as the Ducks prepare to face Washington State. One thing that I did think was interesting, though, is that Coach confirmed, talking to the media, that Oregon is actually using the Mashofsky Center as its locker room. Now, obviously, a lot of that has to do with spacing everybody out, staying 6 feet apart, and everything is different. But the Mashofsky Center, is being used as the Ducks' locker room right now. Some women's basketball news for you today, as Erin Boley has been named to the Cheryl Miller Award watch list. That recognizes the best small forward in women's college basketball. This comes after her teammate, Satu Sabali, won it last year. And Taylor Bigby has been signed to a letter of intent for Oregon women's basketball. Just one of now 3 Taylors who will be on the roster next season. Acrobatics and tumbling, Oregon softball among the other sports that are announcing different signees as we speak. So stay in touch on the various social media channels to meet the new Ducks that are joining the flock. And the Oregon Athletics Hall of Fame celebration that was scheduled for this fall for the 2020 class that was announced in July will be held at a later date when it is safe to gather and properly celebrate our 2020 Hall of Fame induction class, which features, as you can imagine, some of the best athletes that we've ever seen. And tell you what, you have to be out of Oregon for 10 years before being recognized by the Hall of Fame committee for consideration. We're getting into the golden era that's going to be really, really tough to decide who goes into that Hall of Fame. 2-minute drill brought to you by Cafe Yum restaurants throughout Oregon and Washington, where special diet requests and custom orders are always welcome. Menus and nutrition info, cafeyum.com. Do yourself a favor. Help us beat the Huskies. GoDucks.com/sellout. GoDucks.com/sellout. Yeah. See you tomorrow.
A ranger station.
I'd like to report a bear hug.
Okay.
I put out my campfire and Smokey Bear hugged me.
So you drowned the fire, you stirred it, drowned it again, and felt that it was cold?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but he's just letting you know you did good.
Bear hug from Smokey Bear. Status update.
I'm gonna let you go now. There are many ways to start a fire, but one sure way to put it out. Learn how you can do your part at SmokeyBear.com.
Sponsored by the U.S. Forest Service Ad Council and your state forester.
I'm probably okay to have one more drink before I drive home.